Well, I'm going to introduce our first student, Mr. Bruce Smoll. Tell you a little bit about him. Army veteran of 20 years. Thank you, sir, for your service. Also, after that he became a over-the-road truck driver, which is near and dear to my heart since I did that for about 5 years. My dad had a trucking company, so understand what he did there and how much that. I was thinking about it this weekend. Buffalo got over 3 foot of snow, and I'll never forget. Back in the early 80s, I seen 42 inches of snow drop in Buffalo when I was driving a truck, and I sat there for 4 days. So I understand, Bruce. Thank you for your service of getting everything across this nation. Also, he's been with Dr. John and our Faith Church family for about 23 years. Not so much right here in this campus, but in Grantsville, and been a part of our ministry for that long. A little bit about his college background. Rainbow Bible College student, 2-year training course. International School of Ministry here. He has a bachelor's degree in theology. Our Restoration College International, a master's degree in theology. A PhD he finished up in strategic leadership and is working on a master in marketplace ministry. Would you please welcome Mr. Bruce Smoll?
Well, good morning, everybody. And I definitely thank you for this opportunity. My message this morning is, who's holding your ladder? It is one of the lessons I had on my PhD. And it's authored by Samuel R. Chand and also with Cecil Murphy. Whether in management or systems, the effectiveness of a leader depends on the person or person who hold the ladder. And that is those who are in supporting roles. Looking back on my life, I am amazed at how many people supported me with everything I accomplished, worked at, or did. Some things were not meant to be lifelong projects. Some are only for a season, and that is God's closed door. If God closes a door on a season where you were in something, don't try and open it again because it's under your own power, and God will definitely re-educate you to the fact that when he closes a door, it stays there. The list is extremely long and growing. I can also see a list of people that I have helped and will continue to help, as well as those whom I no longer help because my part is now completed, including the times I was fired for one reason or another. The material in this book is a fantastic revelation for those that want to build a business or strengthen the business they have now, and for someone that wants to help build a business as an employee. But people can be the greatest asset or the worst asset in building and maintaining company growth or operations. The weeding out process can be the hardest part of any job for a supervisor and or owner. I was fired 3 times in my life, and I can still remember that moment like it had just happened. The first time was back in 1972. Some of you probably weren't here then, but it was. That boss was hurting more than I was, emotionally, not because he fired me, but in his heart. 2 weeks later, he hired me back with a very nice pay raise. But why? Why did he hire me? I was still that loudmouth, hateful, arrogant person he had fired. I didn't change. His customers were very well pleased with the work I was doing. It wasn't me, it was Jesus working in me. In John 12:32, if I, being Jesus, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me. It is where Jesus was working on me back then. He was working. had things changed. My boss didn't see it when he fired me, but later on, conviction brought him back. You see, I worked for Tradeway Disposal, trash truck company. And I would take a 25-yarder and I'd go out and I would drive. I would drive and throw the route. I was the fastest one. Some of them had 2 people on the back of their truck and I'd still beat them. But all my customers liked me, and when he released me for that 2 weeks, his customers complained they wanted me back. So it wasn't the boss, it was the customers. So if you take care of the people that you work for or take care of, things will happen for you. Okay. How about that person that excelled in one position and was promoted to a new position where poor performance was now the norm? The normal product. What do? The options are few. You can fire that person, demote the person with a cut in pay or let them have the pay increase and still demote them, peer train and send them to a school for training. I witnessed this many times, especially when I was in service. They take somebody, promote them real quick, and then put them in a position they have no idea what they're doing. And it's not just there, it's all around us. It's in businesses around us. We search for somebody to fill a vacancy, and, well, sometimes you get a half-hearted individual in there. No matter how you look at this situation, the leadership was lacking in several ways. Was the person properly trained, prepared, or equipped for the new position? Who was responsible for that person's transition training? Not everyone is gifted to move up the ladder of success. We all have limitations within our gifts and or abilities from God. No matter how good you are not going to outgrow your boss. So in that position, if you feel that you've got more to give and you can't give it where you're at, maybe that's God telling you there's an open door and you need a skedaddle. Move out. Where there is a failure on one level of a business, the supervisor needs to be looked at first. Just because someone is in the supervisory position does not mean they have the quality within them for the duties required for that position. Sometimes our responsibilities need to be split, appointed, or delegated to 2 or more persons, depending on the needs of that organization or level. Too much responsibility on people is as much of a destroyer as someone that is incompetent and means well. No one is capable of building a business on their own. They need to gather people around them to support their dream of building a company. The people you gather to help build your company will be one of 2 skill sets, leaders or managers. Leaders are risk takers. They identify growth opportunities. A company has to take some risks to grow. Leaders will see an opportunity for growth and seek to concur with it, or concur with it, excuse me. Change excites leaders and frightens managers. We need both healthy fear and as an ally. Managers identify obstacles that have to be dealt with. Both are great assets in a business. However, they can cause conflict as they see things differently. That is where the company boss or owner needs to be open-minded and hear both sides of their concerns. Growth is the object for most companies, but is the timing right for that to happen now? What would be the impact on the company now or in the future? Some considerations. Would the current building be big enough for the growth? Or be big enough to support increased manpower and machinery or office equipment? Would there be an increased need for specialists and college graduates? What level of experience would be needed? And how long would it take before the company would see a profit? What is the timeline for this to happen? There's a lot of considerations for any type of growth. There has to be a lot of considerations. Failure should not be seen as a failure. It is experience. The world is full of people that failed at one thing or another. Some stayed in failure and quit, but others used failure to propel them into a success. The big question is, what is in you for the long run, success or failure? No one is a success all the time. No one is a success at the time, and no one is a failure all the time unless they choose to be that way. The only time you start on top is when you dig a hole. And the more you dig, the deeper you go. Consider this. Have you ever considered the fact that to do a job or any job-related function, you have to unlearn some things or transition that knowledge so you can be productive in a new job or position? Someone that has spent many years working in the automotive maintenance field and now has a new job working on small single prop airplanes. Some applications are similar and others are far more technical. The person needs some transition training to maximize their ability. You can take an airplane on the ground and you can turn it left and right, and you got the flaps and the stuff to work with and guide you. But you know something, when you get in the air, you can do the same thing. You have an automobile, you can turn it left and right, but if you don't have four wheels on the ground, you're going for a ride you can't control. But in the airplane, you can. Airplanes can't stop in midair and get out and check and see what's wrong, but cars, you can stop on the ground. So there are some similarities, but still yet some things have to be unlearned. Okay? Your ability is a gift given to you by God. Follow His lead to your success. Thank you.